Ben's Queen, my gemologist. Hi, youngest sibling. How are you? Boy, I sure miss you guys. I don't come down enough. Hopefully it'll get better. My work schedule don't allow me to. But tonight's going to be a good one. Sunday's going to be terrific. Make sure you guys join it. Well, I know my gemologist will. So we'll wait. I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you, Ben. It's always a pleasure to see you. And of course, Queen Diva, my sister, and my other sister. Hey, Mz.Teavalocity, baby girl. What's going on? I love you too, sweetheart. Sephora, thank you. Thank you, thank you. This could be a good one. So I'm not sure. We'll wait for some more people to come in and we'll get started. It's domestic violence. So thank you for joining me. I don't know if the count is right. I don't know if the notification went out, but hopefully. All right, youngest. I like your hair, baby. Hopefully, Sephora see. I was so excited. Oh, thank you, baby. I'm excited to see you. Can't you tell? I know. I need to do a couple of, come on more often. But my schedule hasn't really permitted me to. But I'm going to try. Hey, Pat, how are you? CJ, good evening. Go Pager, good evening. Yes, it did. Be quiet, boy. Good evening. We'll wait for some more people to come in and our theme song to go. Boy, this should be a good one. But please make sure you guys come back Sunday. We are having an interview with a domestic violence survivor. And then the following Sunday, we have another one that's going to do an interview. And I'm like so excited because it's really, really important. The cases has risen since COVID, but that's somewhat understandable. I don't believe in domestic violence, period. But I could see probably the cases has risen in the United States. I could see that. So let's see. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for joining me tonight. We got a couple lives going on, but we are here. So thank you for choosing me. I am going to read an article in relationship to the domestic violence because it's on the rise. Now, I can see that even though I don't condone domestic violence at all, I can see where it would be on the rise when it's so many things happening and so much stress going on during these times. I can see where someone probably would be short fused if they aren't already short fused. I could see them being short fused because of stress. Stress induces a lot of problems for us, and domestic violence just happened to be one of them. And it doesn't mean that it has to be a spouse, a partner. It could be your family members. People are being violent towards seniors, their children, with children being in the house all day. It's sad, but it's true. It happens. And so we're going to have a great show Sunday, and we're going to have Lori, also known as Lolo, to come over and do an interview with me and tell me her story. However, I was going to make it a surprise, but it was already shared. So I'm letting you all know. Good evening, Andrea. Thank you. Hey, Des, what's going on? How are you, baby? So it's really important that we hone into things like domestic violence right about now because it's spiked. So I'm going to share an article, read a little bit on about it, and then we could jump right into the discussion. Okay, so give me a minute to share this article and we'll see. The spike is significant too, and it's scary because at this point in time, I know a lot of cases probably aren't getting uh, people probably are not reporting the cases out of fear or for whatever reason. So much is going on. And then we got people here in our YouTube family just calling the FBI, police, and different agencies just crazily for no reason when they have so much else, so much more important things to contend with. They have to answer these dumb calls when, you could just leave it on YouTube and not take it out, off of YouTube, but people choose to do what they want. But I just want to read this article and then we'll continue on. So I want to share this screen, Chrome tabs. Okay, can you guys see it? It probably would be hard for you to see. Yeah, I think the layout, nope, the layout would take me out. It's probably hard for you all to see. Yeah, because you can't enlarge it. No, you can't enlarge it. So we're going to nix that. But anywho, it's saying that the cases has increased 20% or more in the United States for domestic violence. Now, I just said early, it doesn't have to relate to spouses or partners. It can be children. It could be grandparents, family members in general. Domestic violence is just that, domestic violence. And I can see where at a time like this, it would spike. I don't justify domestic violence at all. However, I can see where the stress level, people's stress levels and anxiety is really high, and they get frustrated and they take it out on the ones who are close to them. Now, I've never experienced domestic violence, but there's a lot of people who have. Who has. And like I said, we're going to have a guest on Sunday who's going to tell us her experience with domestic violence. Then following that interview, I'll have another one telling her story about domestic violence where children are actually groomed for abuse. I guess just by what they're taught and what they see, I guess is a form of grooming to accept abuse. And I can believe that, because remember, your children or a child only learns from what they see. They learn from what they see. So if they see people being violated in any form or fashion, then they will do the same in most cases, unless they grow up to get help. Now, some people don't seek help. Why? I don't know. It could relate back to because they've seen this down the line somewhere, so it's acceptable to them until they realize that it's not acceptable and they seek help or they get away from the relationship. I mean, we have some real compelling stories. It's just hard to believe. And these are beautiful women. You would never know that they have suffered this because of their personality and how they overcame, this type of abuse. I mean, just beautiful people, professional women, personalities are bubbly, just good people. You'll never believe that they suffered at the hands of domestic violence, but they have. But there are certain signs too you look for. And I know perhaps I couldn't get the article to go over the signs, but it's signs that you look for. But people don't always realize that they're being abused. And it's not always physically. See, that's where I teeter on the line, because it's not only physically, but it's mentally. But I think when they project the violence part is the physical aspect of it. And so can you imagine parents who work and this COVID took place? So we all in this pandemic, we all in isolation, basically. You can't go out, and you have little children that's used to doing peer-to-peer socialization. They lose that. And you probably perhaps have lost your job. Or maybe you're laid off now, or perhaps you just, when it all started, we all had to shut down. So people home like that, and they get real frustrated. And I would think that the reason why it's increased is because the stress level has increased. The anxiety has increased. The what if, I don't know. You know, some people are probably afraid they won't be able to take care of their families due to loss of income. So we probably going to see down the line more homelessness. And that right there will worry you and stress you out so bad that I guess you would get upset. I wouldn't say that you would attack someone. And then some people are just in those relationships and they've been there for a while and they don't know how to get out. I told you, I think in one of my lives where my girlfriend was in a domestic violence and she got killed at the hands of her boyfriend. But it was a little different. He wasn't abusing her, but because she wanted to leave, he decided that he became so enraged that he killed her because he wouldn't accept her leaving. And I think fear also sets in and make people stay because they are afraid, especially a mother. In the case of a mother, just think about it. You're a mom and you have one child to four child, how many children? One child to children, right? You don't know where you're going to go with those children if you don't have family that's willing to accept you. You don't know where you're going to turn to. If this person is the sole provider or partial provider of you and your children's welfare, you're afraid to leave. So you stay in this relationship because you're scared to leave, because where am I going to go with three children? You know, and you don't have family. Where are we going to go? I really don't want to go to a shelter. We are eating. We have a roof over our head. The children are clothed, and I'm clothed well. And what is left for them sometime? So they stay with the person. They're afraid to leave because they think they're doing what's best for the children. They're protecting their children because a mother's first job is to protect her children. So they stay in these abusive relationships, and some don't make it out. So some get killed. You know, these relationships end up in murder. That's the result, homicide. So I'm sure that's on the rise, as well as domestic violence. Now, like I said, I can't tap too deep into it because I've never been a victim. Verbal abuse, exactly, Andrea. That's what I was saying. It's just right. Okay, thank you, Andrea. That's Andrea. Thanks for helping me. But yeah, it's not only physical, but it's mental. You know, people will beat you down mentally. They will control you so bad that you are afraid to move, especially when threats are made. Like, if you leave me, I'll kill you and the kids. If you leave me, I'll find you, I'll kill your family. And you have some mentally ill people. And depending on the rise of the abuse that what you have experienced, depending on the level of abuse you have experienced, then you know that you can be afraid to leave. And that's a sad thing because your children see that. And sometimes when you think you're doing what's best for your children by staying, actually you're doing more harm to them by staying. But fear make people stay. Like I said, I've never been in an abusive relationship, but I've known several people who has, and it's really, really sad. And the first thing you think, oh, why you ain't leaving? Oh, you stupid. I don't know why you stand with him. You don't know the fear that person has. And no one has comfort that person to say, hey, listen, I will do this for you. Come go, I'll walk you through this, you know. And then in a lot of cases, you be too afraid to tell someone, your family member or your girlfriend or different people that you know can help you. You are afraid to even, you know, converse with them about it. So I think fear sets it. And then when someone mentally beat you down, you know, and make you feel like you're nothing, you begin to believe that. So you don't even have the willpower and the strength to leave the relationship. You continue to stay there and get abused. And then the kids get abused. So it's really a sad situation, but it's a reality. And a reality that we are going to face more and more with this pandemic. Yeah, we're going to face more of that, more homelessness, more abuse in general, um, more jobs lost. You know, we're just in a tough time right now. And so I can see how someone would be so stressed out, especially if they already do that, that the abuse will increase and continue. I mean, is a double-edged sword. I don't want anyone to ever get hurt. I don't condone the behavior, but I know it's reality. And I can see it fester if you're stressed out more, a little more. And then so even in these times now, you would think, I think there's a little more alcohol abuse, and I don't have the statistics on it. So again, but I believe we'll see spike in alcohol and drug abuse, because people are coping the best way they can. And everyone doesn't have good coping mechanisms. They don't, you know, so they turn into so we know alcohol increase, right? Violence. We know drugs increase violence. Those are facts. You know, I don't have to sit here and give you, statistics or data on it. We know that's facts. When people drink, the more they drink, they become more violent and abusive. When people use drugs and they can't get a hold to their drugs or alcohol, they become more violent. So that's a fact. Those are supporters of mental illness and also domestic violence. Those are key factors in that. So I'm sure a lot of that is taking place. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to share the screen so we could go over statistics in the United States, but it is on the rise, and we should be very careful, and we should look for signs, and don't be afraid to tell someone. Please don't be afraid to tell someone. If you're in an abusive relationship, then try to seek help. Andrea is going to drop a hotline at the end, or maybe she has already dropped it. But if you need help, there are certain signs, then here we go. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and they will give you a safety plan and help you. If you don't have family, then call them and they will put you and your children or you yourself into a safe haven, a shelter, and is anonymous. Like they can't tell anybody, so they wouldn't know where you was at. And I was thinking about something. Let's talk about this. You know how people get restraining orders? Well, to me, and this is just me, and maybe you might think the same. Restraining orders is a crock of bull. Yeah, a crock of bull. There has been many cases of people with restraining orders still getting killed or harmed by the people that they have a restraining order against. I think those things are a joke. And then you have people, when we talk about domestic violence and abuse, most people love their abuser. So when it is time to go to court, they don't show up, or they ignore the restraining order and they still have contact because they love that person. And that's how a lot of cases end up, being homicides, because they love that person. And irregardless of that restraining order, they go back and come in contact with the very person that they went to do all that paperwork and to get a restraining order for or against, and they go back to that person. So let's take a look. Children exposed to domestic often become victim of violence. Yes. Now we have a person who's going to break that down, how they became a part of it, and they realized when they got help, when they seeked help, therapy and stuff, that they were groomed. They called it they were groomed, and she's going to break it down to us because I asked her, "What do you mean by groom?" But when she started explaining it to me, because I couldn't see somebody grooming a kid saying, "Oh yeah, let someone abuse you," you know, or you stay in a relationship. I couldn't understand it, but then she broke it down. So not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, she's going to be on a platform and explain grooming children for domestic violence. That sounds crazy, but she has some very good points there. And when she break it down, you'll understand it more. But it is a sad thing. And like I said, it's spiking. Now, if you're not afraid to come on here and tell your story or even a story of someone else. Like I said, we're going to follow this panel, this open dialogue up Sunday with the interview. And it was a surprise interview, but the person dropped the interview. She shared it, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm still glad to have her on our platform to tell her story. And from what I hear, she has a very compelling story, and we want to hear it. So make sure you guys join me on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so we can listen to Lori Low, also known as Lolo. She has her own channel. Share her story with us, okay? But in the meantime, thank you all for joining me tonight. And please, please, we got to get this up. We have to get Mz.Teavalocity Gems Talk because that's where the thank you. If you know anyone who's in a domestic violence relationship, or you know a story about one, please I welcome you to share with us. Please share with us. You know, they're sad, but it's reality. And we need to deal with reality. Not all this YouTube stuff, but we need to deal with reality, and we need to be problem solvers. We need to see how we can solve some of these problems, be a part of the community, get out there and help instead of creating problems or coming on here talking about it but not being about it. So that's why I come to you and try to share these different stories. You know, and after this one, we're going to have an interview with a person who's actually. Oh, okay. We're going to share another story with a person who is a recovering drug addict. Another compelling story. I've been with this person for a while through their journey of recovering. So I want to bring that person on a platform. So stay tuned. We got some good stuff coming up. Good stuff. Don't miss it. So I'm going to say hi to the chat for a minute, and then I'll get back to the domestic violence. Here's another informative tip from Andrea, National Domestic Violence Hotline, and it's confidential, so don't be worried. Listen, even I will open myself up, even if you are a victim of domestic violence and you just want to talk to me about it, then it will be confidential and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about me getting mad at you and blasting on YouTube. That's not what we do over here. We are here to educate, empower, uplift, inspire, edify, motivate, and turn dust into diamonds. That's my job here. Not to get into all this mess, but that's my job. And that's what I'll do. So you can always reach out to me behind the scenes. You'll see they drop my email quite often. So reach me, we could talk about it. I'm a good listener, and we can go from there. Just if you don't feel safe with anyone around, you don't have anyone around, you can reach out to me. I'll lend myself to you. Thank you, Jazzy G. Thank you very much. I just got it braided. Hello, Pandy. Hair candy and more. All right, hair candy. Uh, Hello to everyone. Thank you, Queen Diva. I didn't go. Sometimes you lose the chat. Hello, ladies. That's just people speaking to us. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Ursula. Hold on. I gotta read this. Okay. Sorry, let me check this. Okay. So if you, like I said, if you want to reach out to me, I will provide you the resources. We have resources, and Andrea, the producer, she's dropping it right now. She's dropping some resources for you all, but I will drop the link. And if you have a story you want to share, you're welcome to come on and share your story. If not, then I will continue on to make sure that we are familiar with different places that you could go to. She's saying they have referrals for legal assistance. Yeah, don't be afraid. If you listening to this live and you're in a situation, we are dropping the information. And even if you contact me behind the scenes, I will get you the information. But every state has the same thing. They have hotlines and everything. So, yeah. Let's see exactly. Sephora C. Hi, Shakila. Hi. Just like Kenya Moore and her husband. I don't follow them. Are they in a domestic violence relationship? I didn't know that. Watch. I don't watch the Housewives. Your skin looks nice. Thank you, K. Edward. Hey, Redbone, how are you, beautiful? Another gemologist. This is my second YouTube channel. We're trying to get it. Here's my email right there, ShellyShell62 at Gmail. You could contact me. We'll give you the resources, and that's it. So that's all an email. Let's see, Redbone, Queen Diva. Okay, so make sure, like I told you, I wanted to read the article and expound on the article, but the article was too little for us to see. I didn't know that. I was going to share it and we could have talked about it. I've never been a victim of domestic violence, so I can't expound on something I never experienced. But if there's anyone here who's not afraid to share their story tonight, I will drop the link and you could come on if you want to share your story, because I'm sure there are lots of people out here in our little virtual world, but I think sometimes people be afraid. Thank you. People be afraid to come forward because unfortunately, YouTube take it and make it a joke, or to embarrass someone, to shame someone. If someone comes on here and tell their story, depending on what happens, they will use it to shame you and embarrass you. But there's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed about. If you need help for whatever reason, don't ever be afraid to seek help. Don't worry about what they gonna say. Oh, it's lightning. We're not gonna be here too long. Please subscribe to Lori, also known as Lolo's YouTube channel. She will be our guest Sunday. It's Lori, and she has her own YouTube channel. And Sunday, I will run her channel. I didn't download it in time enough to do it today because, like I said, I was waiting for some feedback from Andrea, who you know is my producer, who you all know is my producer. I was waiting for some feedback from her before I dropped her information, but apparently we had to go ahead. I just don't like to do things without people permission. So I will drop this link, and you are welcome to come on. I invite you on, and you could talk about any form of abuse. It doesn't just have to be domestic, just any form of abuse. We could get on that topic, whatever you like. So Oh, look at that lightning. I won't be here too long, good people. This could be a real short one. Cause oh, when it starts to lightning, oh Jesus. I know I am scared of lightning. Lori will join us on Sunday and share her story of a survivor of a domestic violence relationship and her life after abuse. Yeah, that's something else. But she's going to share her story, and I'm excited because I wouldn't have never looked and see. You can't judge a book by its cover. I would have never looked at Lori and thought that she was a survivor because her personality is so bubbly. She's such a beautiful person. Here go Andrea. Andrea's going to share some stuff with us. That's you. I know that's you. Hello, producer. How are you, beautiful?
Evening. How are you?
Good. Your
Hi.
hair looks cute.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did see a couple of comments in the chat, and I don't know if they feel comfortable coming on. Pat, Marnie, and I saw Sephora C had comments related to their experience, and I would like to see if they would like to come on. They don't have to show their face; they can just, come up with your avatar. Because the thing about domestic violence that we just think it's somebody getting beat up. It is
Right.
also we really have to emphasize that it is a lot of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse comes before the physical abuse a lot of times. And
Absolutely.
sometimes the person can abuse you without laying a finger on you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they could abuse you financially. You're working and you're taken.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, did y'all hear and see that? Yeah. Did you guys see that and hear that? Yeah. You guys,
See, and I love lightning and
oh,
thunder.
oh,
I love rain, all that. Yeah.
no, rain is very soothing and calming and relaxing, but that lightning is just not my thing. But come on, it's
Well,
worse.
whenever you want to end, that's fine.
Oh, don't
Um,
worry. You let
yeah.
another one of those come, I'll be ending quick. Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
because domestic violence, again, like you explained earlier, it leads, children are affected, the elderly are affected.
Oh
It
yeah.
doesn't matter the age, the gender, everyone can become. Uh, Not everyone can become, because some people already have tools to avoid it, but it is very common. And so, a few weeks ago, when I heard someone be oh, Miss Pizarro, my dad used to do that. He used to make us turn everything off and sit in the dark
I'm
and when there's
thinking,
lightning. Yeah, but it could be restraint, like you can't go outside. Domestic violence could be,
yeah.
you better not leave this house. They haven't
Communicate.
laid a hand on you, but they're like, you won't be able to eat. You won't be able, I will keep you awake all night.
Yeah.
It's so big. And so some
So
people
broad.
who make fun of domestic violence may have
Mhm.
already been in a domestic violence situation, and they just think it's just the hitting.
Right.
And that's one thing that I wanted to really emphasize, is that somebody can break you down verbally
Oh
a
yeah.
lot more than physically. Physically, and this is tricky because emotional or verbal abuse, you don't really know. You just kind of say, well, at least he's not hitting me.
Mm,
At least she's not beating me.
mm.
They say, and that actually keeps them in the situation longer, because I'm getting distracted by the thunder and lightning
Sorry,
comments.
sorry. I'm
uh,
maintaining. Go. Go.
yeah.
Go. I'm
Um,
maintaining.
So I just wanted to, dating violence. People
That's a
think
good
domestic
point.
violence is just living with the person. No, you
Yeah.
can have dating violence. Teenagers don't report.
Teenagers.
They don't report abuse at home. They typically don't report dating violence. So when we're educating our sons and daughters, we really have to make sure we know all the different forms of domestic violence. While I was doing some research on here, I heard a story of a girl that she would argue with her boyfriend, but he would intimidate her to say, "You cannot get out this car until we're done talking about it," even though she had a curfew at home. So she was in a catch 22. he didn't know if he was going to hit her. But the thing is that she she had a situation at home, and we'll hear more about how children are groomed. She would be physically or verbally mistreated at home as well, and then she had the guy. So it was hard for her to decide, and so you just don't jump into domestic violence. You know, it's a lot of things that steps that come before it. So if
I'm
anyone
glad,
wants to share their story, that'll be great.
I'm glad you stressed on those points because is mental abuse before physical 9 times out of 10. It's really mental. They'll break you down, and that's why I said some people are afraid because they is where you gonna go with your children. You're not worth nothing. I mean, I know, and you're not worth nothing. Nobody's gonna want you and your children. I take care of you, and did it, and so they mentally break a person down to feel like nothing, to feel powerless, and then it goes into the beating if you're not obedient to what I say. And so it's deep, and I think Lori has a very good story. I can't wait to hear it, but I've gotten from you that she experienced some things that she wants to share with us, and I'm glad she will be here to share it. But a lot of time, you guys, is mental abuse. And that dating one, Andrea, you was absolutely right because I had a girlfriend daughter experience that, but she was so scared to tell her mother. But I think her girlfriend told the mother, and then the mother approached her about it.
Good for her friend.
But the friend told the mother, and then the mother asked her about it, and she had to share the story with her mother, tell her mother about it. So.
Yeah, that would be hard, because we're always saying, well, you better not let somebody hit you. You better not let somebody. And then sometimes the shame comes with the support system that you're supposed to have. Your family has made it like, well, a thing that I used to hear with a cousin, and I used to get kind of frustrated when my mom would say it. She'd say, if you like it, I love it. And I was probably 13, like, how do you love that? But of course, I'm not going to tell my mom that. But that always stuck in my head, like my cousin came to stay with us, and then she was about to go back. And my mom, she didn't know. My mom was very tough, and she just didn't know. She's not mean, but she's a very strong-willed person. And she said, if you like it, I love it. And instead of just saying, you can stay here as long as you need to. You can, I will help you financially. I will watch your son. That type of stuff. But of course, at that age, I didn't know. I just wanted, my extra space back. But I just thought that was kind of mean. Your support system is not always strong when you're in a situation.
I think, just in relations to that, Andrea, I believe what happens is because people don't know and they haven't experienced it, they'll say stuff like, oh, if you go back, you like it, I love it. Thinking that person liked the situation they not in, not understanding that they can't comprehend how to get out or when to get out and what if they really being abused to a certain extent. Because Sephora made a great point. Most people, most relationships, they build you up before they tear you down. So you figure you don't have anyone or no one doesn't love you like that person love you. So you stay. And then when you go to your family and you try to talk to your family, it's easy for them to say, oh, no, girl, just get your stuff and leave. No. Because men go through abuse too. So let's just not say women.
Oh yeah, about 15% of men have been
getting more
victims. Yeah,
that's on the rise as well. The men abuse is on men being abused is on the rise as well. So you go and you say something to someone, like your parents, your aunts, your girlfriend, and you tell them, well, I know you make excuses for that person. Is the honeymoon period? Remember the honeymoon period? And you go back and they get frustrated and say, well, if you like it, I love it. So I think that's where that stems from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where that stems from.
Well, and that's the thing is my family there, you know, I just remember they're just always been fighters. And so but because I know my mom's response was because she had seen that in her home. So she was like, I'll be damned if that happens, you know. And so that is how she responded to it. And and we have to remember too when we're making fun of victims, um we have to remember that a lot of times, like we had discussed, the grooming of that child. Like I used to say, I'm not gonna, you know, cuss out my kids or beat on them and stuff like that because I didn't want them to have a taste for it in their mouth. Because if your threshold is high for violence, people can just start, you know, that it'll just grow and grow and grow. Like, you know, your alarm is up here, but it starts here and it just goes. But a person who doesn't have a taste for violence in their life, their threshold is here and they're like, oh, I'm gone, I'm out. You know, it's lower. But when it's up here, they don't notice when it's gotten totally out of control. It may be a shove, a grabbing of the arm, it might be a cussing out in public, it might be a you know, anything. And sadly, they don't mean to groom their children in that situation, but then you grow your next generation of perpetrators or abuser. Exactly. I love what Ben said because that is 100% true. Anytime the children, when you look at trauma, uh, um, the child will experience it the same or more than the other person being abused because they have no way to process it. They don't understand it. They have to deal with it on their own because as a parent, sometimes they don't have the skills to help their child. So that's real good, Ben.
Right, then. And then helping victims could get you hurt physically. Is a scary situation. That's why I say, and I think they use that, Kay, saying, well, if you tell your mother or if you go to your family, I'll kill them and you, I'll kill the kids. And so you're afraid to take that back to your family be out of fear. So you live with it for so long until eventually, hey, we have someone coming up. Mel, hold on. Okay. Hold on, Andre. I'm gonna let Mel up. Hi, Mel. How are you?
Hi, it's Melissa.
I know
Melissa
Melissa. I
King.
remember you, Melissa. I was on the panel with you. Thanks for joining me,
Right.
sweetheart. What's your take on this?
Well, I just okay. Um, my thing was I was listening to Andrea talk about, the phrase "if you like it, I love it," and I felt a little guilty because I've used that phrase before. But
Me
like
too.
I was saying in my comment, my best friend has been in a marriage for 20 years, and I have been there for every roller coaster, every fight, every demeaning thing. And I have tried so many times to, when she would express that she's ready to get out. And even though I didn't even live in the same town, I lived like, hour and a half away. I remember once taking off work because she had called me on a Saturday and she said that she was ready to move. So I said, I'll take off work Monday. When he goes to work, we'll get you moved, this, that, and the other. So Saturday goes by, Sunday goes by. I call her Sunday night to see what time I should come. She's not answering the phone. And see, this is her general routine. When she's over it, she just stops communicating. So I'm like, why is she not answering the phone? So of course I'm thinking the worst, that maybe it's gotten violent or whatever. So I call her that Monday and she answers the phone like, oh, hey, what you doing? I'm like, uh-uh. I have been stressed with high blood pressure for 2 days, and
Oh,
you
wow.
answering the phone like nothing is going on. I
Hey,
said,
girl.
oh, are we still going apartment hunting today? And she was like, well, I changed my mind. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why? And that for me, I think that was back in 2000 and maybe two or something like that. That was my last time because I was like, I think I got more stressed than she did. And
See,
I
yeah.
couldn't keep doing that to myself. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, you know what? If you like it, I love it. But I'm
Out of
like,
frustration. Out of
don't,
frustration.
right. Because I'm just like, you don't understand. When you're close to somebody, you feel that same pain that they feel. And you want
Exactly.
them out of it just like you would want yourself out, if not even more. And like I said, it's been 20 years. She's still in that same miserable relationship, and she'll call me, and
Wow.
I just kind of listen, and I'm just like, you know, when
You
she's
know what?
ready to go, she'll go.
She'll go. You know what I also experienced by talking to people who was in abusive relationships?
What's
The
that?
more they talk about it and talk to you about it, they're not going to do anything. It'll take one little thing. They won't
Mm-hmm.
even let you know, or they'll let you know that day I packed up and I left, or I'm
Yeah,
leaving.
yeah.
They'll string you along for a long time until they get tired and the frustration sets in. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure I said the same thing. If you like it, I love it. Just
Yeah.
let her go. She's sticking in that. My girlfriend, years been abused. And the strangest thing, she left one marriage, right, of an
Mm-hmm.
abuser, right into another one that to me is worse. And she loves so hard these people that abuse her. But
Yeah.
then I thought about it, the more and more we talked, she was abused as a child. See,
Oh, okay.
she was abused as a child, and they did all sorts of things to her, and they physically and mentally and emotionally beat her down. So that's probably all she knows when someone show her, because Sephora or Kay made a comment that someone builds you up first and then they tear you down.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases, probably relationships like that, that's what happened. They'll build you up and you think they love you so much
Yeah.
that they wouldn't do what someone else have done to you, and they do worse.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a sad situation.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. It is
It's
sad.
like a. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's just kind of hard because you don't know when to finally just take your hands off, and just
Yeah,
kind of be like, I'm gonna leave it alone.
you just got to leave it alone. Go ahead,
And
Andre.
and one thing we have to learn as people who may run into this is what is true support. Like saying you need to leave, that's not support.
Mm,
But saying this up on the internet, or I heard about this agency, or that's support. And
yeah.
support is not running, and it's not. I'm not just talking to you, Mel. I'm always trying to teach. That's me. but
No,
but
I agree.
support is not running over their house when they call you. Support is calling the police and sending them to the house. We have to learn about support, because I think I'll just only speak of my family. They're gonna go over there, and that's always been. And I've been guilty too, so I'm not gonna even try to say I'm goody two shoes. But the thing is that violence begats violence, and
Hmm.
so we had to learn, like, because what happened whenever they knew we were going to pile up and go over there, then it would be a case of they stopped telling us. People would stop
Right.
saying anything, and then we're like, well, why don't you tell us? Well, because they don't want your big rah-rah. They haven't decided that they're going to leave. So
True.
that's why, from what I've learned over the years, is that I had to say what's real support, because being supportive is not breaking you down. And so I agree, and I really applaud you being able to say this is where I end. And that's what we have to work on that codependency. Like, I'm going to ride this with you. No, it's a part where they end and you begin, and I can't keep talking to you
Yeah.
about the same thing. You're calling and telling me what he or she is doing,
Mm-hmm.
but let's instead talk about, well, did you call that number I gave you?
Mm-hmm.
Um, tell me exactly what you need, and maybe I can help you find the resources. That way, you're talking about action and they may quit telling you, but the thing is, you planted a seed and you didn't, you didn't give them that, that
You
sympathy.
them, yeah.
Some people go for sympathy instead of empathy, for someone to feel pity. They don't need your pity, but some people, they feel like if I can get pity, I feel something. So but like I said, with the beef sector, I had heard something and I thought, oh my gosh, these people, they're laughing at something that probably 50% of that chat is going through.
Yep, and you be afraid to say something on here, and that's why I really appreciate the people who's going to step up on the platform and tell their story, because they so afraid, because people make mock of it and then they turn it is already a negative situation, but they turn around and make it embarrassing, try to embarrass you and humiliate you with a story that's so sensitive and so serious. So people don't like to come and tell their story when you have platforms with open panels. They're afraid because they know how these YouTube streets are. And it's sad when we should be able to come to people for real, and people will offer some type of help. And like you said, a lot of times you offer a lot of information on our panels, and I really appreciate that, because that's what it is. That support, giving them the tools to work with. But I know I had a girlfriend, I told you, the one who went out of one relationship into the other, and she always cried. She became, Melissa, when you talk about your friend for 20 years, it's been years I've been her friend. She's so draining to me. It's sad because I love her so much. I even offered her to come stay with me in another state several times, and she wouldn't leave. And with this marriage, she wanted to bring him along, and I said, absolutely not. Now, I would help you get on your feet, but I'm definitely not helping the abuser get on his feet. So you stay where you're at. But it began to be so draining to me, and I felt so bad because I love her so much that sometimes I just said, oh my gosh. It was never a pleasant, like when she called, it was always a problem. And those people start sucking the life out of you. You cannot allow people to do that. You want to help, but to me, I have learned in some cases, once I extend my hand to you to help and you don't take it, then I leave it alone. I just leave it alone. And that could just be me. I'm kind of like a tough cookie. I'm not going to keep running after you to help you. So
I'm trying to get to that point with people where I don't take on their stuff.
Yeah, having boundaries, just boundaries where, and one thing, Mel, that I found that helps is saying, whose problem is it? Because the person whose problem it belongs to is the only one who can fix it. And that's the thing, we do have to know boundaries. So can I ask you a question? And anybody in the chat can let me know too. Being a person who was close to a person who had been in the situation and it got frustrating for a while, how did that impact your family, your personal family? How did, because sometimes that stress you carry, because you got to get it loose somewhere. Did you notice anything?
I wouldn't say it affected my family. It's just me and my daughter. I'm divorced. But it did bring my energy down. Like after speaking to her, like Mz.Teavalocity was saying, because around the Christmas holiday, it was something else going on and something with her family. And I sat in here and talked, and she cried. And by the time, I felt like she was in a good place for me to get off the phone, I was exhausted. I was completely exhausted. I'm like,
it's draining.
I don't even feel like working no more.
And then your daughter comes in there and says, Mom, I got to tell you something. You're like, I'm just tired.
No, I can't.
And so we have to, that's a good way of saying it, Mel. I appreciate that, because we have to remember that.
You know what? I feel a little guilty then. I feel a little guilty because I'm the type that, God forgive me and don't judge me, y'all. I look on the phone and I go, oh no, I I ain't got time for that today. I hate to say it, you guys, because I have to say my positive energy for it. You know what's going on in my own life. I just say, no, and then they say, "Oh, I called you the other day, and I did you, baby? Oh, I'm sorry. I probably didn't. I don't know. I might have been. I just can't because it drains me mentally, you guys, because it's sad. It's sad, and I know it could be true when someone has a problem. Every time they talk to you, every time they talk to you, they have a problem. I just would pray that no one's life could be that bad, but I'm sure it could. Just all the time, yeah, it's mentally draining, you guys, as a friend, especially when you love somebody. And I think this where this will come in again. Well, if she like it, I love it. And you extend your hand to them, you give them all the resources, Andrea. So help us out. You give them all the resources. You extend your hand to help them, to start them on their way. You don't need no money, baby. Just come up here and I'm going to help you look for a job. And then they still stay. Why should you keep subjecting yourself to anything after that?
Well, and I agree, and that's one, again, I learned that over the years with any situation.
Right.
I've told you what I can do. It's still on the table, but I'm not going to listen to all of it. And at some point I'll say, and then I'll say, that's why I say, did you call the resources? Do you need a ride to the courthouse? Do you, that type of thing. I don't want to hear the whole story. I don't want to hear, because the story you're telling me today is the same story you told me yesterday. And you can say that with all the love that you have. After a while, if they're going to do something, they're going,
I think she dropped off by mistake.
Okay.
Mel, I'll drop the link again. Sorry, Andrea, go ahead.
Because I just feel if a person truly is ready for the help, I'm not going to say they don't want it. I'm saying they are willing to go and take the next step. You're there, but you are not there to be the sounding board. You are not there. You have to know, like if you don't answer the phone, it's okay. The phone. Because you're not in the best position to help. You may end up cussing that person out. If you're already kind of frazzled and then you answer the phone, then it's a bigger issue. Then they're all wounded and then it's all your fault. So nope, you just don't answer the phone, because it's called self-care. You can't help anyone until you are taken care of. We're to help people out of the overflow. We're supposed to keep our cup filled for our responsibilities and ourselves, and we help others out of our overflow. And that's how I have to look at self-care. It's not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. So you did the right thing and saying, okay, I'm going to let you have it. Mz.Teavalocity did the right thing by now answering the phone.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I mean, I was zapped. All these years, it's been 29 years, and I'm just zapped, And I just have to pray, for real. I just have to pray, well, I hope nothing happened to her. He doesn't kill her. I mean, I don't know what else to do. And he's locked up, and still to this day she cry, I want my husband. I'm like, oh. But then again, she was damaged as a young child. She was abused. So that's probably the only love that she knows. Sad but true. Sad but true. I can't figure it out because I've never experienced it like that. So I can't figure it out. I'm not a therapist.
Right.
So I haven't studied that behavior like that, or that acceptance of bad behavior. So I don't know. But to me, abuse is abuse. And I have very little tolerance for any type of abuse. That's just me. I don't let it consume me anymore. When I see someone is abusing me in any manner, I cut it off. That's the way I deal with it. Might not be right, but that's the way I deal with it. I just cut it off. So, yeah. So I don't understand as well as I probably should understand.
You understand yourself, and just think of what is mistreatment or abuse. It is that basically, if I just put in like just an analogy, Abuse is misusing something outside of what it's intended. Now,
Right.
whenever you join in with a friend, you're expecting to be able to tell that friend your problems, and your friend may tell you their problems. It's more of a balance, but when it becomes where you're the hero, the rescuer, the sounding board, your relationship becomes imbalanced, and then it is not. I agree with Kay Edwards.
I
Um,
agree with that, Kay.
it is not at that time it becomes imbalanced, and it's not helpful for you. You're
Right.
being abused at that point, unaware. Of course, the person not purposely trying to abuse you, but if you allow that to continue, then you say, this is it for me. I will still talk to you, wish you happy birthday. If you need a ride someplace, if you need, you know where your limits are. I'm just saying what my limits are. I'll give you a ride. I'll tell you what you can. I'm resourceful, so I'll find something. I will kind of give you a little pep talk. But if you drowning, you're gonna be an Eeyore, as I call it, Eeyore, like but. I don't do well with that, and I know that about myself. So that's when I get off the phone. So
And
you have to know yourself.
Kay, you know what? That's scary too. That's scary even to invite the children in. And I get what you say. You would never want to leave a child in that situation. But my fear would be that that father or whoever will come there and harm me for taking the children in, or taking the wife and the girlfriend or whoever, the auntie, the cousin, the grandma. My fear would be that they would come in to harm me if I took them into my home. I'm like Andrea, get them the resource and get them on and do a well check on them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
But it's so sad that nowadays we can't really help as much as we would like because it's a different world and a different time now. So we never know what someone else would do to us. These people are taking out anyone who gets in their way. So
What was the name? What was the name of the lady who won Star Search? Not Star Search. Oh Lord, American Idol. Her name is Jennifer. It was Jennifer, some last name.
Hudson,
Hutchins. That happened in her family where her sister had come to stay, and then the person came and killed the sister and the child and her nephew.
and the mother.
That happened in
Yeah.
Serena, and the mother, and it happened to Serena Williams' family, where her sister's abuser came and killed her. It's a lot of stuff. So you do have to, again, you can't help anybody else unless you make sure self is taken care of, and it's not selfish. It's just you out of the overflow. So
They will suck the life out of you. And it's so sad because I really believe I love my friend like a sister. I love her so much. And I've always wanted the best for her. And
Right.
then I said, well, you want the best for her, but does she want the best for herself? And my answer was no. My answer was really no. Not when you had opportunity to get away from the situation and you had somebody in your corner. I just said, enough of it. I just can't do it anymore. Whenever she calls, I'm like, oh, Jesus, do I have to hear this one? For real, it really takes a lot out of me. It consumes me, and people want to hear, you want to listen to people because sometimes people just want you to listen to them, not respond. My children teach me that, Mom, sometimes I just want you to listen, not respond. Because, we always good for giving advice, parents, right? They said, well, I really didn't come. And they kind of hurt my feeling. Well, I really didn't come for you to, for your advice, Mom. I just wanted you to listen. So I'm learning to just listen and not respond. And that could be tough sometimes.
Yeah, something my dad tells us all the time is he is still having a hard time dealing with the fact that he has grown children. He still thinks of us as his babies. You know what I mean?
You
And like,
do.
I'm 46. I'm a long way from a baby, but he's
But
like,
still,
I have to remind myself.
yeah. Oh, you should hear the way I talk to my children. They was like, Mom, I'm 40 years old, Mom. You think I don't know how to take him? Oh no, I was just telling you it's raining outside. So make sure you grab stuff for everybody. They said, we were doing this before you even came, Mom. We were taking care of our kids. And my son shuts me down right away. He said, I got this, Mom. Mom, I got this. I'm the parent. And then I just back right off. But my daughter, I'm like, ooh, make sure she did. Now, here's just a little story to lighten it up a little bit. Queen Diva has my niece. My granddaughter. So Queen was talking to me today, and I was like, oh no, don't let her do that. Make sure you don't do that. She said, I know what to do with it. And then her mother let me know what to do with it. Well, I don't think you should do that with her. It's just that you're always going to be my children, my babies, regardless how old you get. You would always be your parents' children, and they just love you. And they so used to, when you was little, taking care of you, giving you advice, telling you what to do, controlling you. Sometimes it's hard to take away that control.
Yeah. So just think of how when our kids have that type of response. Think about a person who was they're grown, they're in a situation such as this. The minute you start fussing, they're gonna defend. So I'm not fussing with you. Exactly. The minute you start fussing, they're gonna shut down. And that's the thing that you have to look at, because sometimes their fear is talking much louder than your voice. Their fear and their tendency to protect that person. You're saying your stuff here, but they hear the bigger thing over here. So at some point you just say, I'm done talking. This is what I'll do. Yeah. We can go to lunch, have a good, spend time together. I can babysit the kids sometimes to let you have a break. But when it comes to you and your spouse's relationship, male or female, I'm gonna let you guys handle that. This is what I can do. And that's the thing, is that people will go around and around, and they're feeding something in their brain when they do that. Like some addicted to drama. I'm not saying this at all. It is a part that's addicted to it. They get a dopamine fix from that.
The dopamine.
And so they can't tolerate the peace. But you bring peace into that conversation, they gonna hang up on you.
You know what, I never thought about that until you said about the dopamine fix. You're right. Some people are addicted to drama. And
I can't stand it.
And it's crazy, you guys. And I know, go ahead and take me out, Andre. They're addicted to abuse as well. Physically.
Well, it's the drama.
It's the drama, right? Okay. Yes, some people are just addicted to abuse. It is,
and that does sound harsh, but when you think about it, but no, I'm not shooting you down, because on the level, I'm gonna explain you the level that I agree with you, is that it's the cycle, it's the love bomb, it's the build up, then the battle.
Just
and
like
then, like you said earlier, the honeymoon phase. I will go through this to get to that 2 or 3 weeks or months or however long it is. Get to that sweet spot where we are loving each other. It's kind of close to what it was, but then here it comes again. It's building up. It's going. And then boom, you got the explosion. And so that's the thing. I like that suggestion, Kay Edwards. But that's what we have to look at, because their brain is like on a hamster wheel. They're like, okay, because another thing is that if it's too quiet for too long, they're on, they're waiting for the other shoe to fall. Right. So it's like, just get it over with. And so that's where the abuse is, where we say it is addictive. I'm not even going to say what my mom said was wrong. It was what she said, because that's not how she would handle it. If you like it, I love it. But at some point, you have to realize, I can't stop this cycle. I'm just here on the outside as a helpful observer. You're a helpful observer. You're not in the relationship. You put yourself at risk physically, emotionally, mentally, when you put yourself inside of that relationship.
But too, I was thinking, when we talk about abuse, and we gonna get ready to wrap this up. Y'all see the lightning coming.
Yeah, I see it.
I was thinking when we was talking about abuse, you know how, I don't know if you've been in a relationship, but this is what I believe. I believe in a relationship when Kay spoke of when someone builds you up and you fall in love with that person, when they start changing, I believe personally, this you hang around hoping, hoping that that person will be the person you met,
Right.
you know, and they'll be that person. They'll buy the flowers, take you out to dinner, kiss you up, sexy sex, great, all that stuff. And then a couple of days later, it starts back again. And I think you're so easy to forgive them because you're really wanting and hoping they'll be the person that you met in a relationship. I'm talking about as far as a relationship with a man and a woman or a partner, however it goes. You're hoping they will be that person that you met.
Right.
And they'll never get back to that person because once you allow, and this is my belief, once you allow a person to abuse you, and you take it and don't put a stop to it, they'll try it again. If it goes the second time, you can hang it up. Then they will abuse you forever. I believe that. If they don't get help, they will abuse you forever because you have allowed that. You have said to this person, it's okay if you call me those names. It's okay if you slap me. It's okay if you hit me. I mean, that's how I believe. You're giving them permission to do that sometimes.
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple of comments where I'm seeing where someone says they love the abuse. No one loves to get hit.
I don't believe that. Who
But
said that?
they love, and I'm not even trying to call anybody out. This is just what I like to go with, thought processes about it. Because when we say they love abuse, we're kind of like giving us a cop out a little bit. When you start to blame the victim, you're kind of giving yourself a cop out. Like, I don't need to say anything because they love that. I don't want to keep them from what they love. But again, they're addicted to it. Think about the drug. Like people who, how many times do people, like, when they're trying to quit crack, I'm just going to say crack because I call all of it crack. It takes 7 times to get free of that. So you're dealing with that brain. Your brain has changed to the point to where you're looking for that cycle because this has become your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you're loving it. It's kind of like I don't love being, little fluffy. I don't love my fluffiness. Oh gosh, I don't love my fluffiness, but I keep doing the habits that maintain my fluffiness. And I think about that with a person in an abusive situation is they may not love it, but it has become, their brain is like, it's too quiet in here. I need this fix. And so this is how I get to the fix, because the beating may last, a little bit of time, but then you got that honeymoon phase. That's what they love. They love the honeymoon phase. They love the sweet, like Mz.Teavalocity, the sweet person that they knew. They love that. They will exchange the abuse to get to that. So I'm not saying somebody's wrong, but I do like to
Behavior complex. Good one. That's a good one because sometimes we believe that we can help that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll help them, I'll see them through, and it gets worse because you become a codependent.
Right.
But
and I do like what Sephora said, is the rewards to be the special girl that changes life. And women do that all the time. But men do it too. But I know it's a lot with women. It's because I'm going to be the one that's going to fix it. Even though you told me yourself you beat up such and such. But I'm going to be the one that you're not going to do that to because I'm that special. No, you're not. Because you're saying you can control whether they abuse you or not. No, they control whether they abuse you or not. You control if you stay.
Yeah.
And that's really loud.
You heard that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get off. Thank you for letting me get on.
Me too, Melissa. Melissa, don't worry. We all go get out. But before you go, Please make sure you like the video. It's important that you like the video. If you here and you engaged and you enjoyed yourself, please stop by and give a thumbs up if you haven't already done so, and subscribe to my next channel. Don't leave, because I want y'all to know about our Sunday show. Go, Andrea.
Could you just put up Kay Edwards' comment right there? We're not going to talk about it right now, but that is so important. But we'll talk about it another show.
I'm glad you said that, because I had a talk with a friend of mine today, and she was telling me, and I'm glad you said that. So but right now, I don't know if we can expound on that, because I said, you in a relationship and you didn't tell them about the abuse you had, and they said no, it just never crossed their mind. But now you guys are telling me something different. Like I said, I never thought that much. I can't expound on it, but wow, maybe you shouldn't tell that person.
It's all about that threshold, and especially if you've gotten help, you don't want to discuss it, because you never know. You may still attract that type of individual. Right now, your job is red flags. Look, but I don't want to get into that. It's a long one, because But
we will be back. But in the meantime, make sure you hit those thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to this. And I need to bring low. It's lightning really bad here, you guys, and I really need to go. I stayed longer than I wanted to stay with my scary self. You guys see it's getting worse out here. But please make sure you join me Sunday in Lolo, and I'll have her information. And Andrea dropped it in the chat. Andrea, can you just please drop Lolo's information one more time, please, as well as the contact to domestic abuse. Can you please drop that? Some people are still here, but we are now getting ready to leave because it's getting worse. I need to cut everything off in here and go to bed. You saw me jump several times. I don't like lightning, thunder and lightning. So if you see your king's crown crooked, help him straighten it up. If you see your queen's crown crooked, help her straighten it up. Make sure you speak life and wisdom into your princes and princesses. They are our joint heirs in our future. It's so important that we do that. It's so important that we groom them to be royal. Royal. Exactly. Be a blessing and not a bother. Again, thank you all for joining me. Thank you for the new subbies I have and the cash apps I received. Thank you so much. God bless and be. Oh, that's okay, Lori. Lori, don't worry, Lori. You're on for Sunday, sweetheart. Catch the replay. We just was talking a little bit about domestic violence, and we was telling that it was an honor for you to join my platform Sunday. I'm really excited, Lori, that you will join our platform and talk about your story. And then we have another story behind yours. Thank you so much. I do have your information, and I will drop it. Okay? I will drop it. Andre is dropping it. My producer is dropping it. Here it is. But thank you for stopping and watch the replay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Make sure you share. Tell someone about Mz.Teavalocity. If you want that positive, mature vibe, you know, where it's not too rough over here, but it's just nice and comfortable, that I would have people drop out of the skybox to join me. I appreciate that. Or to come on my platform. I appreciate that very much. Tell somebody about me. Don't keep me a secret. It's a great thing. It's a vibe. It's a positive vibe. My job here, my platform, is to design to educate, edify, uplift, inspire, motivate, and turn dust into diamonds. Not all that beef and garbage. So make sure you share my video. Good night and God bless. Be safe, everyone.